All right, everybody. Welcome to the Almost Awesome Podcast. We're at episode number 20. I'm your host, Mark, here on a journey to explore an adventure and take a deep dive into deeper conversations, something that a lot of people don't have enough practice in, and I'm definitely one of those. So I hope that you guys tuning in can enjoy and hopefully take something away from this small venture we're taking. And of course, like any good adventure, we can't have a decent adventure without some sort of navigator. And that's where my co-host, Matt, comes in. He'll be navigating with us on this adventure to explore a little bit more about the man, the mystery, the strongest man I know, BJ Ducusin.
BJ?
You there, man?
Thanks for joining. Who's that guy?
What's BJ? Well, how you doing,
How's it going, BJ?
It's going well.
Uh-oh. He's
Dude,
getting
it's
drunk.
good to have you. It's good to have you. So we usually start the podcast with something a little more light, and we talk a little bit about the theme, like what we're wearing. So you, this week, picked jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about why you picked jerseys?
One, jerseys are, they feel super comfortable. I love basketball, number two. And number three, Dwayne Wade is one of my favorite players ever. Number three. And yeah. Pretty much that's why. And I haven't worn this in a long time, so gives me a reason to.
Nice. Mark, what jersey are you wearing? It's like cut off. I
So
can't see.
I had to dig deep for this because I was like, I don't think I have like any jerseys. But a long time ago, we had jerseys made for like our hip hop dance group in college. So this is a fresh off the beat jersey with my number 14 in the back. So I made it work. I was like, thank God this fits.
Dang, that's a fresh one.
Very fresh. Off of a beat. Anyways. What are you,
Me,
Matt?
I am rocking the Cloud9 esports jersey. It was actually kind of nice. I'm glad that you gave us some flexibility on jerseys.
Hey.
But this one, it was nice to wear because usually I have this hanging up on my wall.
Mm-hmm.
This is from DreamHack Dallas, which I actually went to with Funktana and Anton. And the team that we wanted to win, which is Cloud9, they won, and they signed our jerseys, which is like over here.
Hey, that's cool. Yeah.
So we got all three of our jerseys signed, and it was awesome. It was awesome because they're our team. We wanted them to win. They took the tournament, and it was like a really, really good match. And yeah, I mean, they're like a big inspiration for us as like we're really grinding in Rocket League. So it meant a lot to get that like signed and have it. And usually it's on my wall. I have it as like a decoration, but it's nice to actually put it on because I feel like it looks sweet. So this is a good reason to pull it out. And as Funktana mentioned, unfortunately, Cloud9 is in relegation, so they're no longer. They might not be participating in like the Rocket League. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Though.
Good luck. Good luck to them.
But speaking of video games, our first topic is actually about tournaments. So I thought it would be really cool because I know all three of us here are gamers. We all play some sort of video game pretty competitively, I'd say, like at least to a level where like I would say we could whoop all of our friends, or you could whoop like your casual coworkers.
Yes.
And then and then now we're like at the phase where we're stepping into tournament realm. So I thought it'd be really cool if we like talked about that, especially BJ. I know you just recently came off a tournament win, at least the last I heard, and you might be going to a tournament next week.
Yeah. We'll see about next week. But
Tell us about the Fashion Square tournament.
yeah. So I actually almost didn't go to that one. Literally, I waited till the last second, and then I sort of guilted myself into going because I said I would be going the whole week prior.
It happens, man.
But yeah, so I ended up going, and I rushed pretty hard. It was like a 30, 40-minute drive. And when I got there, I mean, it didn't start for another hour, so I rushed for nothing. But I ended up playing casuals. And yeah, it was nerve-wracking. I mean, there was more people than I thought there would be. But I guess playing casuals and just saying what's up to people as I'm playing sort of helped the nerves. Like my hands were just really shaky, but eventually I just stopped thinking about it. So when tournament time came around, I was just playing, and I was sort of brain dead, but thinking at the same time.
It's kind of like you're just autopilot.
Yeah. And I didn't even know the tournament was single elimination till halfway through. Like, so I knew I had to win then. But but yeah, it was cool. I mean, yeah, I ended up winning, which is really awesome because it was my first ever one. And it's crazy to think about it because, like I said, I almost just didn't go either. So it's a good memory to take away, and know that don't always, I guess, doubt yourself. Always, if you want to do something, just do it. I mean, there are a lot of things I don't do that I want to do, but this one case, I don't regret that I don't regret going. It ended up for the best anyway, so
dude,
it's cool.
Nice, man.
Wait, and you won. That's freaking amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I want to do one thing before we go further into this, because I think there's a lot of really cool things to talk about, especially about like tournament nerves. I feel like that's a really cool topic. But I want to talk about something that you mentioned that I thought was interesting, especially given the nature of this podcast, and something that we usually start with is how do we have better conversations? And you mentioned, like when you were in casuals, you were actually like talking to people. You were talking to the kids you were playing with and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So was it? I mean, it must have been nice to have people to talk to that you know are familiar with Mortal Kombat. Like, did it help connect with those people, like talking about MK and like at that level, and help calm your nerves and all that?
Oh yeah. Honestly, at first I was I started thinking like, man, I'm here to play a video game while everyone else around me is shopping. But it was cool just because, when you share something similar with anyone, I mean, most of the time it should click between you and whoever else. So that helped. I mean, just knowing that there are other people there doing the same thing you are, the nerves just go away. I mean, in a short amount of time. After that, I just didn't care. Maybe for like 5 minutes I cared, and then after that I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do my thing here. And I've been practicing so much anyway, do your best. And yeah, I mean, I talked to like maybe 5 people, and I actually had some good conversation too. So it's not like I just said what's up, had elevator talk and all that.
Yeah.
So.
Did you guys like talk specifically about MK, or like what kind of things? Do you guys
we talked matchups. So I play this character Jade, and then I pretty much discussed like the matchup between their character and mine. So like, I mean, I beat them in casuals, but like they're like, oh man, the way you did this, and there was so much pressure in the way you like kept them in the corner and stuff. Like, do you have any advice on how to counter that? I mean, I told them everything I could to just beat me.
He's like, no, I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna lose to you.
Nice try,
I'm not gonna tell you my secrets.
But yeah, and then if I messed up on something, like I would ask them too. So it's just more of a exchange of, I guess, knowledge at that point.
Dang, that's like, it's kind of crazy, but it just makes sense, right? Like when you're there for such a specific purpose, having a conversation with someone is so easy because you know why everyone else is there.
Yeah.
They're there for MK. They're there to compete. So like,
yeah,
they're on the same page. And if you're not on the same page, it's like, what are you doing? what's
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Unless he bothers you, then it's like, well, yeah, no wonder what page. This guy's like on a whole other level. That's cool. That's cool. Mark, do you have any cool tournament conversations that you can think of?
I think I do have one. So, back in the day when we played Marvel 3, we went to a tournament, and I think it's my second match, because I don't remember if I went 0-2 or 1-2. I don't remember. Anyways, one of my matches, I lost to this guy, and then like I just felt like discouraged after it, and like I was telling like it was a pretty like decent sized tournament. So like once your match was done, you had to go talk to the tournament advisors or organizers, yeah, about like who won your match. So I tell the guys, I was like, oh yeah, I lost my match, and then they're like, oh, what's your tag? I tell them my tag, and they look at like who I was up against, and they're like, they like looked at the name, and they looked at me, and they're like, don't worry about it, dude. We all hate that fucking guy. Or they're like, oh, was it that guy?
Oh,
and I was like,
yeah.
yeah, I lost to him. Like, man, fuck that guy. Don't feel bad about it. I was like just hearing that, I was like, man, I don't feel so bad. I was like, all right, cool. I'll take it. This is so funny.
That's hilarious, and it's funny because I feel like once you've been to a tournament that's big enough, or you've been to enough tournaments, you kind of see certain archetypes. Like you see the guy that's like really good, who's a favorite, and everyone kind of respects him. He might even have a following. You see the guy that plays really fucking annoying. He kind of looks annoying, and he plays like an annoying character.
The person matches the play style. Yeah.
Yeah, like, but you know he's not gonna win the tournament. He's gonna get like top 8, and everyone's gonna be happy when he loses. But he could probably beat you. Oh,
You're like, I don't want to verse him.
you don't want to verse him. You'll just be mad.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, I was BJ for this Fashion Square tournament, and I guess Mark too. Were both of these your guys' first tournament, video game wise, that you had ever been to?
Yeah, for me, yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Mark,
me as
was
well.
that yours? That was yours too?
I think.
Or like one of the earliest you can
so.
think of?
I mean, I wouldn't really call it a tournament. Like I did like rock band competitions before, but that's. I feel like that's something completely different compared to like a fighting game tournament, right? Where it's very specifically a one-on-one sort of competition, right? In Rock Band, like I basically have my teammates with me, and I'm not directly competing against like somebody else. It's more like, I guess to put it, it's more of a talent show and like showmanship and just like being able to perform the song, or it's like it's literally being able to perform the song and like sell it and like get people excited, get the crowd excited and stuff. So I don't know if I'd really consider that in the same realm of like tournament. I guess it is still like competition, right? But kind of very separate and different. It's hard to like compare the two.
Yeah, it's like in the same category, but not exactly a tournament setting. But that makes sense. So I guess my question really is, it's crazy to me, BJ, because that was your first tournament. I like would love to talk more about you, and you specifically mentioned it, which I think is really interesting. How you felt nervous, but you autopiloted like through it. Like you almost weren't thinking too much when you were playing, but you felt nerves. Like, can you describe like what was going on in your mind, like during the matches that you felt those nerves?
All right, so like, okay, so when the controller in my hand, right? Imagine your most like nerve-wracking moment, because like for me, when I'm in a situation like that, my toes especially, but like in that specific event, my wrist and my hands were just like shaky. So I was then, because of that, I started thinking, oh my god, like I won't be able to pull off combos because my hands are just so like whatever they are. And at that point, I told myself, okay, do something to help yourself get past that. And what I did was I always shook the other person's hand, and I just said something to him every time.
Mm-hmm.
Because at first,
He's like,
my first thought was but my first thought was that they saw me, and then I would instantly think that they think like, oh man, this guy sucks, but he's never seen me play before.
Mm-hmm.
So my second thought after that is, why am I even thinking that? Just say what's up to this person, and then say, good game, let's have fun,
Mm-hmm.
and let's do this. And honestly, like looking at the other person and just saying, all right, have a good game, and then going back to the screen, my hands magically somehow just stopped being shaky, and I was just able to go on autopilot and just pretty much perform like what I know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what it is, but just acknowledging the other person next to me helped me get over it, I guess.
That's really interesting. And I
Because just to add on to that,
humanize it. Go ahead.
just to add on to that, I think I don't know I forgot what the word is, but when I'm playing online here at home,
Mm-hmm.
I sort of like imagine this other person on the other end that I'm playing. And if I get tilted, I imagine the worst kind of person.
Mm.
So that's how I kind of went into the tournament too, is like I imagine the worst kind of person wanting to beat me.
Mm-hmm.
But really the other person playing next to me is just anyone else. Like they're not mean, they're just
it's just like a normal
trying
person,
to play the
right?
game too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've sort of created something that's not real, and it shouldn't have been that way from the get-go anyway. But
that's also
I
weird
was able
though.
to get
'cause,
over it.
Like it's the online community of, I feel like, specifically fighting games, or I would say most games in general. Like they're just people who just like talk so much trash, and it's just like, man, you are a degenerate.
Oh yeah.
You're just a degenerate person, and I hope the worst for you. Like, you know, like
Yeah.
some like it's something about online competitive gaming that will bring that out in people, right?
Mhm.
And then
Yeah,
because you
it's weird.
don't see them, you have no idea what they look like or who they are. You just picture them. You know, they give you that persona, and then you create that image of them as just like a terrible person that you don't want to have like any interaction with. But like,
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
said, like once you're in the live tournament setting where the person's right there, like you can create that image in your mind, but you could also just look to the side and you'd be like, oh, this is a normal person. Maybe he doesn't use deodorant, but maybe he does.
Yeah.
I don't know.
By the way, I made sure I took a shower before I left.
There you go. There you go.
Respect.
First things first, baby.
Gotta smell nice.
I feel like that's really cool, though. Like the fact that it sounds like what you do is like you humanize the person next to you. You realize that they're just a person, whether it's, making it so you're not tilted or just realizing they are just another person competing, kind of
Yeah.
calmed your nerves as well. I feel like
Yeah.
that for me was always the nerve-wracking part about a tournament is I don't know anything about this person sitting next to me. I don't know if they're godlike or if they're a scrub.
Yeah.
And I think my mind naturally under pressure will assume the worst.
Yeah.
So I
Yep.
assume he's
That
like a
you're gonna lose.
godlike player,
Mhm.
and then I'll play defensive. Like I'll change my play style based off of that. At least
Mhm.
that's like what I feel I've
Yeah.
experienced in
And
tournaments.
sometimes you shouldn't. You should just play to what you know, regardless of what is happening next to you.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
So-
also like a technique that some higher level fighting game players use. So especially in the beginning rounds of a tournament, they'll, I wouldn't say like throw around, but they'll use the first round to get a feel of like how their opponent plays before showing
Yeah.
like all their cards. And then once they feel confident, then they can be like, okay, now I can show this card, and beat them here and here and here. Or, oh, this guy's next level, and I need to step up my game so I can,
Mm-hmm.
play evenly.
Yeah.
I think the difference, at least for me, was like pros when they do it. It sounds deliberate. I
Mhm.
know when I go through a tournament in the past, it felt like it was out of my control.
It's almost like a panic moment, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So those were always tough. So I find it's really interesting to talk about that. It's crazy, BJ, that like for your first tournament, it was something that you solved for. Have you like gone to any tournaments since then?
Yeah, I went to there's one. It's called Juicy. It's over. Yeah, I went to another one. Pretty much, I went to another one. And I actually didn't win this one, but it was the same thing. I mean, a lot more people at this one.
Oh, it's bigger.
And now I have different personalities. So the different experience in this one is that I'm waiting around for Mortal Kombat to even start. So now I'm hearing all these other guys talk. And just like you guys were talking about earlier with the different archetypes of people, there was this guy I played who definitely, I guess, spoke more than what he knew. Like, so he sounded smart, or like he knew what he was talking about, but when it came to actual like the game, like, like he couldn't really back up his talk. But yeah, and another factor to that too is this: when I played that same guy, so I was in a match with him, and I guess all his friends were just behind us. But man, it's nerve-wracking. It's also nerve-wracking when people are cheering the other person on. So you're sort of like
You're the
just
bad
the
guy.
new guy. Yeah, you're the villain.
Yeah.
And everyone's telling this guy to punish you for doing the wrong move, the wrong combo.
Mm-hmm.
But in my head, it's like, well, this guy's not really doing anything to stop it. So, educate him. But yeah,
Educate him.
It's like, yo, listen to your crowd, man.
yeah.
Oh my god, I'd be so
They got
tilted.
good tips.
I'd be so tilted.
So, but I've never felt that before. Like, just so many people like just going against you.
It's like,
Like-
it's like part of it is you just being a new there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know anyone, so
Yeah. But you whooped him, right?
yeah. I ended up winning, which felt great. So
That's awesome.
Like a
I feel
true
like
villain.
that's such a good feeling. Like when you overcome that obstacle of
yeah,
that guy and his crowd,
yeah.
you probably felt like you basically won the tournament.
I was definitely taking like large breaths. I was like, oh. If I lost that one, I was just walking out of here.
Oh man.
But it was good. It was good.
That's awesome. So, did you feel the same amount of pressure? Like when you first got there, were your hands shaking at all? Did you like feel the nerves?
Uh-oh.
I think we just lost
Did we
BJ,
lose him?
right?
Uh-oh.
Everything's good. Oh,
Oh, there he is. Okay.
go!
Well, welcome back.
Alright.
We're back.
Welcome back. All right.
So, what is it? Two things. No, I didn't feel as much pressure as the first time. But I did when I went up against this one guy. It was insane how like nervous I was. So I ended up losing to this guy twice. Very first round, and then in the grand finals.
Ooh.
But
Dang, dang, that's sick.
yeah, it was pretty cool. But yeah, he botted me every time. But his archetype was like the quiet guy, but he was really good.
Like you
And,
knew he was good. Like you could tell.
Yeah, he didn't say anything, and like yeah, he just knew what he was doing in the game.
Mhm.
So yeah, I couldn't adapt. If I did, it was too late. But at the end, he was telling me like, hey, like if you need any help or if you have any questions and you come through here like every week, just ask me, whatever. So it was cool that he was a cool guy.
He's a cool guy.
about it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He like wanted to help you get better.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
I went from thinking, man, this guy probably thinks I'm horrible, to, all right, he's willing to give me some pointers,
Yeah.
which is cool. So
I think that's
So-
what I like about like the fighting game community is there's a lot more I guess I would say like push for growth in like smaller communities for fighting game tournaments, at least from like what I've heard, where
Mhm.
people are more inclined that if they see someone putting in the effort to like get good and they want to get better, like in your situation where someone beat you pretty badly,
yeah,
and they see that you're a cool guy, you could be a cool person to like hang out with and play more matches with. People like that have incentive to try to develop you into a better player and strengthen, the juicy community as a whole, and just, get better matches for pretty much everybody, which I feel like it's super cool.
And also, just on the side, shout out to if he's watching, Blinking Airwaves. I played him too, and he, just knowing a friend is there, so he was there, and it helped calm the nerves too.
Nice.
At Juicy, I know he was at Fashion Square. Was he at Juicy as well?
Yeah, he was at both.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice, man.
So yeah, shout.
Was he the one with the crowd?
No. Luckily not. If he was, oh man.
So, my question is, do you think you felt more pressure when you first got there, or did you feel more pressure when you were like in grand finals versus this unmovable object that was this guy?
That facing the person, really, just because I mean, getting there, it's whatever. You have the opportunity to, like, I don't know, you have time to get over it. But when you're actually in the game with someone, there's just that limit of time to really learn and adapt to them, or they adapt to you, whichever it is. But that's the scary part, is like, man, can I figure out what they're doing? Because they've obviously figured out my game. Can I change it, or can I don't know. It's a lot of things go through my head, and before I know it, I'm already lost. So
did it feel more like, at that moment in time, did it feel like that guy was better than you?
Yes, for sure.
And it wasn't like a pressure, like, it's like you performed the best you could. It just, at that moment, that guy was a little better.
Yeah, the very first match, like in the first round, I mean, I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, okay, let's just treat this as any other match.
Yeah.
But then when I had to go against him again, that's where it was all,
It's flashbacks.
Yeah.
No. Not again.
And it happened all over again. I was
man.
like, oh my god, I let it happen. Like, all the same moves, the same combos, everything.
You just had your number?
Yeah, it was crazy, so hopefully next time.
So,
yeah, man.
It's a week. Have you gone again since, like, you've...
No, I haven't gone yet.
Gotcha.
Probably plan on going again soon. Maybe give it a couple more weeks. Just to, I don't know, practice more.
I was gonna say, have you been training?
Heck yeah.
Hyperbolic time chamber, man. That 2 a.m. session, that's what it's for.
Yeah. Man, you know what's crazy? I wish I knew how to really play fighting games back when y'all two were playing games. Man, back then I knew nothing, but if only I could go back in time real quick and learn.
Man. Yeah, I feel like it would suck because there was a matter of timing, like when we got into fighting games and when we got out of.
Yeah.
And it was also the games that we played too, I think, where like we were super into Marvel, and I think Marvel's pretty rough to get into, like, as a first fighting game, just with how like fast paced it is. You have your 3 characters and stuff like that, so it's just like it can be definitely like overwhelming. And then
for sure,
I know, because I've talked about it with you, BJ, where you've tried to convince me to play MK, and like I've talked about it with you, where it's tough for me to get into. It's just isn't my game, or like in previous editions of MK where I would try to get in, I didn't enjoy it. And maybe it's just like the mechanics of the game and stuff like that. But even with this new one, it's kind of like, maybe I'll try it. But so far, no luck yet.
It's all good though.
I do feel it does help, like, calling back what you mentioned earlier, BJ, is like having friends there at the tournament helps, or like having friends that you can grind with and grow and like keep competing with. I think helps the training process for sure.
Yeah.
So,
it does.
What's like your training routine look like nowadays? Like, what have you been kind of working on? Do you like watch footage of other pros play, or do you like sit in training mode, like play online?
Exactly. Actually, everything you said. So, I'm in training a lot now. So, I pretty much try to, if I lose to something online, I just pretty much replicate that in training mode
Mm.
and just find every way to beat it.
Mm.
I mean, that's what it's for, pretty much, right? So, yeah. So I'm utilizing whatever the game has to really get better, and I play online almost every day. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm getting better. I don't know, but yeah, that's pretty much it for me in training for MK. If I were to go to any other tournament again,
Mm-hmm. Nice.
hopefully.
Does MK allow you to save replays of your fights or your matches and stuff?
Yeah, I don't know how many it saves, but it saves like a bunch of them for you to rewatch.
I was gonna ask, like, do you ever use that like as a method to figure out, like, I guess like the easiest
Yeah.
example would be is if you lost a match, do you go back and watch the match and see the small points where, oh, I could have done this, oh, I messed up
Yeah.
here and stuff like that.
If it's like a really close game, yeah, I'll see that, like, you just watch yourself play and you sort of either cringe at it or you're like, oh, nice, I did that. if the other player is a Twitch streamer, I'll like 90% after the match go and watch them and see them as a person playing the match. That way I know that they're not like a bad person.
He's like,
He knows they're not
yes, I
scum.
beat him again.
Yeah. Most of the time it's not like that, so it's good. But yeah, I'm sure it's like with you guys when we rewatching your podcasts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You sort of reevaluate how you speak or what the topics you dove into. Like for me, what combos did I do? Did I use the right combo at the right time? Did I set this situation up correctly? I don't know.
It's
Just
like
gotta reevaluate yourself.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of the best ways to improve is to watch the tape, like really watch a replay.
And
But it's-
cringe hard.
It feels cringy. It feels difficult. It's not exciting,
Nope, not at all.
but it's one of the best ways where you can really iron out. This is where I fucked up.
Yeah, I think it helps you just accept either who you are or what you do. Like, if you're not willing to watch yourself do something, how are you gonna get better at it? You're just gonna always push away the constructive criticism, like for yourself, if anything, and you definitely won't accept other people's opinions of you or like any pointers or tips. So. Yeah, definitely going back and watching or looking at stuff is definitely I don't know.
It's eye-opening.
Yeah, it's eye-opening. There you go. Thank you.
You start seeing like, oh, why did I do this? What was the point of me doing this? Why did I jump here? There's no reason for me to jump. I jumped here and I got punished real hard for it.
Yeah.
And you start seeing like, sometimes you start recognizing weird patterns that you should try to fix, or weird habits that you may have developed, but that doesn't come about just from playing. Sometimes it does. Sometimes you kind of get it, like if you just keep repeating it and you keep getting punished every time. But it makes it easy when you have that one replay from that one match and you can learn right away, oh, why am I doing this here? Why did I do this? And just address the problem a lot faster than having to stumble, fall continuously over and over again before I finally identify, oh, there's something, I'm doing something wrong here.
So, I want to do a couple things. First off, I want to say, you guys have missed a couple of shots. So I cursed at least twice.
Uh-oh.
So that's my bad. And I would also say we have had a couple viewers in the stream say what's up
we're
and all
keeping
that.
both?
I would say
Okay.
At least 3 people. I don't know if you guys don't have to do 5 shots.
Alright, we're doing it.
I'm just saying. While you guys are working on
You're
that.
cheering every time? Oh, I was just gonna gulp the full thing.
I want to say thank you to Fontana for keeping us honest on the shot counter. I respect that.
He's a good guy, Fontana. I gotta respect you for the 12-month sub, but I hate you. My liver hates you.
So I want to move on to our next topic, and I think it's actually kind of cool because this there's surprisingly a lot of similarities, in my opinion, in what we just talked about and in dating. I feel like it's really, really crazy to think about how much those two things kind of correlate and how many of the lessons we learn from tournaments can apply to the dating scene.
Yeah.
So I want to, before we go into the thick of it, I want to ask you guys, like, how's your guys' dating life looking right now? How are things going?
Oh, it's a good start.
Mine's all right. There's nothing going on. I'm working on myself at the moment, but
Nice.
hoping things magically align one day.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that's a very good thing, though. I think that's something that a lot of people don't put time and effort and focus into. I think I'm definitely one of those people where it's weird. Like, dating it feels like it's so much it's like a game of sales. I would say for online dating, or I guess even just like personal, like trying to find like a selling point for you to.
Oh, we got him back.
Are we okay?
Yeah, we're all good. We just lost you for a sec, Mark.
Yeah, Discord like bugged out on me. Sorry, but I don't. Maybe the Discord server's messing up.
I'm the last one.
But I was gonna say,
It's a selling game.
if you don't know what to sell about yourself, you're not helping yourself shine, or like, it's hard to make yourself seem attractive to someone else when you don't believe in yourself. You're not confident in, what you're good at. So
Yeah.
I think it's important to really put time into figuring out, like, what am I looking for, and who am I, what am I good at, and what part of me is worth selling, right?
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. It's just like going to a tournament, right? If you don't practice, you're gonna get bodied. If you don't know what you're good at, you don't know your combos, you're gonna get wrecked. You're not gonna want to go again.
Mm-hmm.
But if you sit in training mode, which can be anything you want it to be, maybe it's working out, maybe it is like identifying how you sell yourself, then like when you go up to the plate, maybe you get there. But that's cool. So
Yeah.
BJ, you answered the question. Mark, how's your dating life now?
Yeah, I could talk about off podcast. It's not not for on podcast, but I kind of agree with BJ. I'm more of a step back from BJ, where I'm starting to consider, like, hey, let's not just foolishly throw ourselves out there. Let's not just like half-ass this and just kind of be wishy-washy about it. Like, let me take a step back. Let me figure out, like Most Positives was saying, just self-love. Figure out that self-love. Once you find reasons to love yourself, it's going to become easier for someone else to love you. Right?
Amen.
So
I know you guys were planning a guys' night where like you two were going to go out. Which I thought, and again, I think it's funny. I think it's just like tournaments, having someone else with you there. It's less pressure. It's a little bit more fun. Like, you're with somebody. So did you guys like have a game plan, or was it kind of just, hey, you want to go out to a bar on Friday and like,
Oh, we had a game plan. More.
yeah. Oh yeah. We had.
I'm joking.
We had game plans, and things came up. Things came up and didn't come up.
It's all good, man. But I guess, it can happen any other time, So.
Were you guys gonna was there an event or something that you guys were gonna go to specifically, or was it?
Nah, I think we were just in my mind, I thought we were just pretty much gonna go on the fly and just see what happened, sort of deal.
Yeah, it was pretty much. We just hit up some bars, and just like almost not put the pressure of, hey, let's find a girl to go home with. It's let's just go out. Let's go out and like talk to people.
Yeah.
And if she wants to go home, hey, BJ, I'm a Uber home. But like it was more of the idea of just putting ourselves out there, being friendly, looking for conversation, just like being authentic and not like super thirsty, and just like talk to somebody who could be interested in you. Like it's nice. It's an addictive feeling, I would say, when you're talking to someone and they're like very interested in you. When like if you're just working 9-to-5 job and you don't really, you're working, you interact with your coworkers, and then on the weekend you just kind of bum around and you don't like talk to people. It's a nice change of pace, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's like engaging.
But unfortunately, I messed up. Okay, BJ, I know, I goofed. I
didn't say that. But
And
okay.
if I would have gone out, things would have gone really south. That's all I have to say.
It's all good. It's all
I
good.
started feeling hints of it early, and I was like, I can't. I thought about it when my plans had fallen through. I was like, you know what? Let's just go and like reckless abandon this. And then it hit me, and I was like, no, this isn't. I'm not gonna be 100%. It ain't worth the trouble. I'm just gonna be in more trouble. So I was like, I can't do this. But I did try to tell BJ to just go. But I do understand, like it's tough running a solo mission.
Mm-hmm. So, do you guys remember the last girl that you were talking to? Maybe you guys. Maybe it's been a year from now. Maybe you were kind of flirting with a girl recently. Do you guys have anyone relatively recent? I would say like within the last year. Or so.
Well, just meeting a girl, right?
Yeah.
For me, I mean, I haven't had whatever, but just meeting a girl,
even just like flirting.
know them.
Like talking to them, flirting, maybe like
or getting to know,
Yeah. If you didn't know her before and you end up becoming friends with her. Yeah.
All right, BJ. The question is, when you were talking to her, did you ever hit her with one of these?
No.
Don't worry, me neither. I never done that move yet.
I'll say this: I kind of just turned my brain off and just like I just ran on autopilot once again. I don't know if that's a good thing, but
BJ's the autopilot king.
So I mean, just running on autopilot and just realizing it's not as big of a uphill climb as it is to get to know a girl. It's just like walking. You just gotta take gradual steps. You ask a simple question.
Oh no, we're losing people. Hold on. All right, guys. So we're back on the topic of dating. Do you guys remember where we left off on? I kind of forget because it was kind of abrupt and my mind's racing right now.
I last remember BJ saying autopilot works for him.
Yeah. So
it's just like walking. You just can't think too much.
Yeah, just do it. Just get yourself to point B. Ask super tiny questions, and hopefully she answers super humongous answers.
That's
in return.
I think that's funny. I think that's funny because I know. Well, I would say from my dating experience, going on autopilot isn't good for me. I would say. Again, maybe like there are a lot of variables. Maybe it was just like my state of mind. Maybe I just didn't click with this girl. But I think if I dive too deep into autopilot, I guess if I have to phrase it, when I go autopilot, I think of it as, hey, I'm just here to hang out with this person. I'm not here for like I don't have an ulterior motive, I would say. And like if maybe this is where I'm flawed or where I'm wrong, but I think with dating, like I tend to forget to kind of keep that in mind and keep that obvious that I'm not just here to like hang out, be cool friends. like we're both here for something more than that. Hopefully, if everything, if we mesh together and stuff like that. So I know autopilot. There are times where I definitely think, for me specifically, I have to click out of autopilot. Like I can autopilot for a bit, but then I have to remember, hey, we gotta. There's a game plan. There's supposed to be a game plan here. So, what about you, Matt? What are your thoughts about going autopilot? Are you just that good, like BJ?
No,
It's kind of weird. I think it's a weird combo of like autopilot and not autopilot. I find my game is in the middle. Like if I think too much, it hurts me. And I think I can relate a lot to you, Mark, on that end. Like there's certain moments where I overthink and I let pressure get to me. And I think when I go into those moments, I don't perform my game. I don't, do what I'm comfortable with. And then I get into my own way. But then I think there's also other moments where I am clever and I think of the right thing to say because I gave it enough thought or I planned something out the right way and it turned out really fruitful. And then there's sometimes where I just turn off my brain because I feel like it's not worth thinking that much. And I want to just not think about it. I just want to talk to somebody. And then usually, I mean, if I had to guess percentage-wise, I would say autopiloting works a lot more than overthinking if I had to go into extreme spectrums. I would say my best success rate is when I kind of do a mix of both, where I think of something clever to say, and then I don't overanalyze what I just did. Because I think that happens a lot, where you can say something really smart, and then you can put your foot in your mouth because you think of all the wrong things that can happen because you did it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like thinking about your action and then stopping. Don't think about it afterwards. Just let it happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the balance that I find is most success for me. But I think it's hard. I mean, I sometimes there's certain moments where I still feel the pressure, even though I feel like I've been in the game for a while. I've been talking to a good number of girls, but there's some girls that they kind of just have that effect on you. It's like when you're playing someone in a fighting game and you know they're good, and then they hit you with one combo and you're like, oh shit.
And you're just super tilted, right?
Like this person knows what they're doing.
Or it's almost like they can pull off like that one super optimal combo and like they pull it off in the beginning, and from there the stage is set and you're like, this guy's super good. Like there's no way I'm gonna beat him. But maybe he just knows that one combo. Right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't know anything.
Yeah. It's like, damn, this combo right here is too good. I'm done. It happens. It happens. But I think that's like part of the experience and part of getting better at it.
It's like like we talked about with the tournament experiences and just finding out how to break out of that nervous mindset and really like be calm, be cool. Like what you said, BJ. It's just like walking, Just get to point A to point B. Go left foot, then right foot. Left foot, then right foot. And that's all it really is. And just kind of some people can go with the flow. Some people like me, I gotta really plan about my moves. I have to tell myself, oh, we step with the left. We step with the right next. Don't step left again. But it's all about finding it's weird. It's really like conversation. Every person's going to be different, so you never know what formula is going to work for them. Even if like you have a formula that works for you, it may not work for whoever you're meeting up or seeing or who you run into. So it's sometimes it's a weird guessing game where you just gotta. Sometimes you just hope that your game plan works. If it doesn't, same thing with fighting tournaments. If your game plan doesn't work, you got to learn to adapt really quick, because before you know it, round's over and she's gone. So, or she stays and asks for a rematch, and you're like, what?
That sounded personal.
Talk about it off podcast.
But I completely agree. I think it's just like a tournament. If you get bodied, you have two options. You either quit or you go back to the training room.
Yeah.
And then you go back to the next one. And maybe you'll do better, maybe you'll do worse, but you have to keep walking. You got to keep trying.
Yeah. That is for sure.
How embarrassing would it be if you could watch replays of yourself through your dating experiences?
Mega embarrassing. But I'd watch it. I'd watch it for sure.
I've gone through some of my conversations in like dating at like Tinder and Hinge.
Just like
and
text, right?
Bumble.
So you can actually see the one.
Yeah. And you can see it's funny when you can see where things break down, or when you misplay. I mean, it's just like you can see, but it's so cringy. It's like one of the most. It's one of the hardest things for me to look back on. But when you look back, I can say, "Well, man, why the hell did I say this?" Or like, "Why didn't I say this?"
Mhm.
And then the next time you get better, you're like, "Oh, I should have asked her out at this point instead of asking another question." Like this is what she was asking for.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think that's the strange thing about dating is I don't know if you guys will agree to it, but I definitely feel like there are a lot of times where you have to put yourself out there. You have to put yourself out there to be like vulnerable, and then hope that they kind of like resonate or they bite for that like bit of vulnerability, and they're like, okay, I can get comfortable like with whatever's happening, whether that's text, conversation, whatever, stuff like that. And sometimes it's tough. Sometimes they don't bite, and you're like, well, that's weird. Anyways, you know, you just you try your best to recover. But do you guys kind of agree with that? Where like dating, like I feel like I have a pressure to kind of like throw myself out there, be vulnerable. Like I guess my go-to move is like I feel like I'm a goofy guy. I like to have fun. Like I'm kind of a goof. So even if I make a fool of myself, I'll full commit to it, like almost in hopes to get a laugh. And if I don't, then it's I'm kind of like, dang it, I have to try harder.
Shoot, I don't know.
I mean, you can say I'm weird and I'm the only one who does this.
No.
Like, I feel like at a certain point you have to.
I don't know.
At a certain point, you do have to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
I think the timing of it depends on way too many things. It depends on you. It depends on the girl. It depends on, where everything is going. But I think, yeah, at one point you do have to put yourself out there. Either it is like, I mean, it's showing your hand a little bit, right? At one point you have to tell the girl, I like you. Or you get lucky and she tells you first, either way. But for the most part, I feel like you do have to put yourself out there. And that's the risk you always take. Or you always have to sort of think about taking. But it's up to you. I think the more you do it, the easier it becomes, though. Rejection or not, I think no matter what, once you start doing it, you become more comfortable with showing who you are. And then I think that only makes you stronger. Whether you do get rejected at first, I think it helps you realize that some people aren't for you, and your job isn't to change their minds. Your job is to find the people that are there for you. And you can only do that by keep showing yourself.
And like it's rough, right? Like just kind of coming over that hill of like failures, I would say, where you're not always going to be lucky like BJ and win your first tournament. Some people do, some people don't. And like sometimes you go 0-2.
Lucky.
Sometimes you're lucky like BJ, you win your first tournament and then you get into grand finals in your second tournament, Sometimes you go 0-2 and then you just quit and then you dip out.
But guys, those are video games. I need to get to grand finals with a girl.
It's fine. You gotta understand this life that we're living right now.
Tournament.
This is a simulation. This life is a simulation. This is a game. This is a game for a higher being. We just live in a simulation, BJ. Whoever's got the controller, you gotta be like, hey man, Here's the combos.
Wait.
Get in the
Stop
training room real quick.
dropping combos.
Go to training mode more, please.
But that's all it is, man. You just gotta figure out like what is your training mode? How do you find the optimal moves? Whether that's like a legit
That's tough, man.
move,
That's tough.
or like we talked about, like figuring out like that self-love, finding that self-betterment, really like refining what qualities in you make you unique, and how do you make that like presentable for someone else to appreciate and like.
Yeah. Honestly, my only game plan now is work on myself and hope that stands out to some girl out there. If it doesn't, oh well. But at least I worked on myself in the meantime.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best I can do. It's hard. It's hard to, for real, like literally go out there and just. For me, at least, for you guys, it might be easy, but I don't know. For me, that is terrifying.
Oh no, it is. It's definitely terrifying for me.
So I don't know. Hopefully, it happens at some point. But in the meantime, I'm just gonna keep enjoying what I like to do, I guess.
I gotta ask this then. Do you hope that someone will stumble across you, or are you trying to look for somebody else? Like while you're working on yourself, do you have your eyes open and peeled for, prospects, or are you just waiting for somebody to stumble across you?
I mean, my eyes are like every time, There's not 1 second.
Chameleon eyes, man.
Not one
Just split.
but no, it's stupid. But it's hard to just put myself in front of someone and say hi. Or I'm trying. I'm trying so hard, but there's like this wall that blocks me from doing it, and I'm trying to get rid of that wall somehow. But for as long as that wall is there, I'm hoping someone just like stumbles across it, which I doubt is going to happen. I hope it happens, but I mean, I think the ultimate goal for me is two things: is to continue working on myself, so I want to look better, or I want to feel stronger, so keep doing that, but then get past this wall so I can meet a girl and get to know that person and whatever. I mean, it's tough to say that something will happen if I just wait around for it, but
right.
So I need to somehow get past that eventually. I don't know.
It's tough, but it's also like you said, it's just the problem, but you don't know the solution. And I think that happens with a lot of people where it's easy to identify what the problem is, in whether that's in life, whether it's dating, whether it's fighting games, whatever. But you may not necessarily have the tools available to you to figure out on your own, how do I solve this? How do I figure this out? How do I overcome this wall? How do I, break through or climb over it? And that's kind of, some people say that's the fun part of life, figuring out the puzzles of all those small questions. And it's a tough journey when you can't figure it out and you just keep slapping into that wall over and over again. But
yeah, it's crazy. At work, when you're in a setting where you're meant to talk to people, it's easy. There's no wall. Like at work, even though I don't know anyone at work my first time, it's so much easier to say hi just because there's purpose in it.
You're all there for the same reason.
Yeah.
Like work or
school. But when there's nothing at stake and you're just out there, I don't know. My mind instantly goes to this other person has a goal right now. I'm not trying to bother that goal or stop them, because they're here wherever it is, at the grocery store, at the gym for some reason, and it's not to meet me. That's what my mind goes through. But I need to get past that, where it's like, even though they're not there to meet you, maybe it'd be nice if you if you did say something to them,
Mm.
or I don't know, what do I know? But I'm trying to get away from that way of thinking.
Yeah.
It's like you never know until you try, right?
Yeah.
Well, the way I think is, and it's super. I know where you're coming from, BJ, and it's super easy to say this from an outside perspective, but like from if the shoe was switched, right, and you're
Yeah.
at the gym, and you're working out, and a girl came up and talked to you, you
Oh.
probably wouldn't be like, "Hey, I have a goal here. Can you?"
Oh hell no.
I don't know, man. I could throw something out there, man.
Nah, it'd be pretty sick. I'd be like, damn. Okay.
What if you were about to hit a PR? Like you're about to like get like
Mark.
what if
the
you're about to get like
Her talking to me.
what
is
if you were
the
about to
PR.
get 300 on a bench, right? 300 on a bench, and you unrack it, and like a girl comes
Yeah.
up to you and like tries to start talking to you. You're just gonna rack that up and be like, all right, let me put this PR on pause.
Yeah. The
Oh my!
answer is
You
yes.
wouldn't be like, hold on, let me like get this up real quick and be like, all right, now we can talk.
No.
Holy, okay.
Because if I do the PR there, I'm tired. I'll be breathing. I'm huffing and puffing and everything.
Dang.
If I rack it back and I take some time, at least, number one, that's a second pre-workout. That's another pre-workout I just got.
Like he'll break it afterwards. He's just
Yeah. I can always get a new PR just minutes after it. So.
This guy's a man with a plan.
No, but seriously, yeah, I would definitely rack it back up and just let it happen.
I think
So-
that's like the mindset. At least the way to think about it is that everyone I think has a goal, but you'd be surprised how people are willing to change that if you have the courage to, put
Yeah.
yourself out there. But it is super easy to say. It is super hard to do.
Yeah, easier said than done.
I know we're running pretty late, but I think Fontana asked a really good question in the chat. So his question is like, in terms of girls in video games, at what point do you find yourself wanting to keep training in one game, and what point do you decide to play a whole new game?
I
Dang, guess-
can relate to this because this definitely happened with me for Rocket League. I mean, not in terms of dating, I would say. Well, maybe we'll see. Anyways, it definitely happened for me in Rocket League, where I would say I was pretty dedicated to it and trying to get better. And at some point I hit a wall. It was kind of it was pretty shocking, where at one point I had cemented in my mind, okay, there's no way that you're ever gonna get this good. So we're gonna drop it. And there's too many small things that you can't do, and it's also too many things that you don't want to put the time to learn how to do. So it was basically, if I'm not gonna put the time to get better, and I'm just gonna keep losing because I'm not getting better, then I'm just gonna drop it, right? If you're not gonna put the time into to get better at a game to win, and you just keep losing, it's frustrating, right? It's like, why are you gonna keep punishing yourself for this? And at that point, I was like, well, if I already know that I'm not gonna put time to get better so I can win, and then the game becomes enjoyable again, then I just gotta drop it. It took time. It took a lot of time where like I was guilted to be like, hey, let's just play because other people want to play, and I know how to play. I would say I'm decent at it, but at some point it was basically like, well, it's no longer fun, and it's just frustrating because I can't keep up with the people I'm playing with, or yeah. It just wasn't fun. It was just more frustrating and disappointing. So at that point, I was just like, well, gotta go, gotta dip.
Damn. I think it's funny. Functana wrote, I wrote the wrong thing. I actually meant relationships in terms of videos,
Ah.
but I'm open to all answer in terms of video games. Um, but I kind of see where you're coming from, Mark. I think it takes a lot of courage to say, "Hey, I think this thing is over. I think it's better if I take a break from this game." Whether it is video games or relationships, I think it isn't easy to break up for both parties. I mean, sometimes someone takes it harder or not,
Mm-hmm.
but when you think of it from the perspective that you mentioned with Rocket League, I think it takes a lot of strength to say, "Hey, I don't want this. You don't want this. Like, it's best for both of us if we, you know,
Mm-hmm.
play other video games."
It also comes down to just coming to that realization of it. I guess the biggest thing that comes to my mind is like picturing like a toxic relationship, right?
Mm.
Where
Mhm.
it's you're basically like trapped, right? You don't know what to do. And then like for everyone else outside, it's like, oh, you just leave. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, hopefully you're not married, but if you're just like in a relationship, just leave. Say, hey, we're done. But when you're in that situation, it's almost like a whole different beast. You have like that closed mindset of, this is my picture frame. You don't. It's too hard to take a step back and look at the bigger picture and see that, this may not be worth it for you, and maybe the best choice is to just end it and switch to a new game.
Mhm.
Yeah, you guys took the words right out of my mouth. I guess for me, yeah, in terms of video games, I like to stick to one game or two, and really make get better, like be the best at it, whatever. But in terms of the other, like girls and stuff, um, yeah, it is tough to realize stuff isn't working out. So it took a long time to accept that for me. I kept thinking maybe I could have done something to make it better or make it work out,
Mm-hmm.
but it was already over from whatever point. But yeah. So for me, I guess I don't really see when I need to move on to a new game, if that makes sense. I just like to stick to one and see if I can get better at it. But I do need to possibly get a new perspective on everything and say like try out new things. Maybe I don't know, but
No, but
yeah.
I think it's tough. That's like a huge thing, right? Where when do you realize that it's when do you realize it's not worth it? It's not worth the trouble. And it's easy to say that, but when you're in that position, when you're in like that relationship, it's hard. I guess because I kind of resonate with you, BJ, where if I was in that sort of like situation, I feel like I would be like, all right, let me do what I can to make this work. Let me do what I can to make this better. And I'm gonna I'll go through thick and thin to really make this work, no matter how painful or how much trouble this is gonna bring me, because I want this to work. But honestly, there are some points where you need to come to the realization of, hey, this isn't working out. This isn't working out. This isn't for me. This isn't for us, and stuff like that. And like it's dating's a two-person thing. It shouldn't all just be on you or me. It's both people have to work together for it. That's how relationships work. It's not just one person giving and one person taking all the time. Hopefully, for most people, there has to be a little bit of both. There's to be some equivalency in there for it to really work out. But a lot of people, I think a lot of people don't see it that way. I think it's almost like, I guess, it's like that nice guy mentality, where if you see something like wrong, you're like, let me try to fix this. Let me try to do this. Let me take the burden. Let me do this. Yo, man, I got you, man. I got you, dude.
Why did I do that?
But it's
By the
true,
way,
right? It's true. You're having that good guy mentality where I don't want to break up. Let me do what I can to fix this, to make this work, and I'll do whatever it takes. And sometimes it's just not meant to be. Sometimes, you could do. I know I've talked. I think I've talked with Matt about that. I may have talked about it with you before, BJ. But like, you may have made all the right moves. You may have done everything optimally, but maybe you guys just didn't click.
Yeah.
And from there, like that's just it. Like just because you did all the right moves doesn't mean everything's gonna work out in your favor.
Yeah, that's a harsh reality. But I think the bright side is there's always more to look forward to. I think
Yeah.
whenever you move on to a new game, it takes a while. I think but once you find that passion again, or that fun, or that feeling, it's just inexplainable. You kind of completely forget about the old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you look back, you appreciate what you had, you see the good moments, but then you're just having too much fun in the present. And
Yeah.
I think that's the feeling that I love to keep looking for. And I think that's super awesome.
If I can throw one more thing, to put it back into like gaming terms, it's like you playing a low tier character because you think they're cool, and you're going to tournaments. You go 0-2, you go 0-2, you go 0-2. You're like, why do I keep going to tournaments? Why do I keep going out? Why do I keep trying to go out on these dates? Right? What's the point? It's not worth it. But sometimes all you need to do is change new character. Figure out like what works for you. What could you play best as? Who could you play better as?
Mm-hmm.
Repurpose that. Go back to the next tournament. See how that goes. But it all comes down to just like staying strong, not giving up, and staying true to yourself. Staying true and believing in yourself that you can do it. If you put your mind to it, you'll get good. It may be rough, it may be tough. You'll get a bunch of calluses, bruises, scars, and such, but you'll come out better in the end. But you gotta stick to it, because eventually, from going through all those tournaments, taking all those losses, learning those lessons, one day you'll be in grand finals at EVO. And who knows, you could win. You could be the next face of MK.
Well, damn.
He's like, well, I gotta go to training mode. Gotta go.
Well, I think it's about that time. Well, I know we're running a little late, but we did have some technical difficulties. But I feel like we're about at the closing.
All right. Yeah, to be fair, I'm not sure where our time. I lost our timestamps completely because of our interruptions and such. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. Because we do have to keep this to a limited time set. Unfortunately, we do have to close it. But because the conversations were so juicy, hopefully, BJ, hopefully we can get you here again to talk more, because I definitely enjoyed this a lot. But as the last couple closing shout outs, thank you guys in chat for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you didn't catch us live, you can catch us on YouTube to catch the whole podcast. I'll edit it a bit so we break out some of the technical difficulties, so it'll be a little bit smoother. That's at AlmostAwesomePros on YouTube. You can also follow us on Instagram at AlmostAwesome_IG. We post like little tidbits and clips of previous podcasts, little ways to I guess start your day and get you looking forward to the next podcast and the next conversation. And to throw this one out there, I should have put this in the pre-show, but we're also looking for moderators for the live podcast. to help us with, keeping people in touch or like what's going on in chat, or even just like taking clips of the podcast, just so then me and Matt can really focus and hone in on giving you guys a quality conversation. But I think I covered just about everything. Did I miss anything, Matt?
I wanted to just say two things. I think, Funktana, I want to read your answer to your own question. Just for anyone that doesn't get to experience this live, I think it's worth reading it out. So, Funktana said, I feel like I'm a bit of an extreme example, but I approach relationships in video games in the same way. I found something that makes me happy, and I've made the conscious decision to fully commit to it, growing in that game/person. And I think that's awesome. I think it really speaks to who you are, Funktana. So I think it's awesome that you found that. You found your zone, you found your character, you found your game.
You found the game,
and
yeah.
you found that person. I think that's amazing. And then the other thing,
Cheers
and
to
this
that.
is more
Cheers to that,
moving-
Funktana. Got you, man. Cheers.
The other thing, man, my cup's empty. I was hoping there'd be something. The other, moving on to the next podcast, BJ, we always ask our guests before we close out, who would you love to see on the podcast as our guest? Who do you think would be cool to have here, to talk to get to know better, all that?
Can I name more than one person?
Oh
You
my
can.
gosh, we're going through this? BJ's like, here's my
Yes.
list of 50.
I have
In
three,
alphabetical
actually.
order.
Ooh, nice.
I have three. Two of them I see in chat right now.
Ooh.
Fontana is one.
Oh, yeah.
Heartbreak King is the second one.
Mm.
And Kevin Reyes third.
Well, I hate to throw you under the bus, but we have had Funktana once. We
Oh,
have
no, I
had,
missed it.
We have had Kevin Reyes on as well.
Oh, I
if
missed
you
that
miss
one
it,
too.
have you heard of our YouTube channel? Because you can watch it there.
I've heard it twice already. So I'll go check it out.
But for sure, I would definitely love to have them back, almost as a checkup, and even just hearing Funktana in chat talk about his questions and stuff. It's interesting. But for sure, HPK, we gotta get him on there because he hasn't been on the new format. He's been here in the alpha stages, but for sure.
That would be awesome.
Nice.
Well, with that, BJ, we will document that. We'll send you the link to Kevin and Funktana's later. But
For sure.
Yes.
don't get us wrong. We will and are probably going to have them back on the show, and we'll make sure to let you know when that happens. But with that, I will hand it off to our normal conclusion. So, BJ, I'll put on a timer for 1 minute. You can use it all if you want. You can end it early, whatever. But basically, the floor will be yours to close out this podcast, and we'll call it a night whenever you're ready.
All right. I want to say thank you guys for.
Wait.
I'll give you a 3, 2, 1.
He'll count
go.
you
My
off.
bad.
But
My bad.
before
My bad.
we end, hey guys, thanks for the bits.
Okay, got it.
And okay, all right, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. So I want to thank you guys for having me on. This is really fun to do. It really helps me speak in front of in front of an audience. It keeps you from saying these gap fillers too, and sometimes. But other than that, thank you. Appreciate you guys inviting me on. If you guys like drawings, I have an Instagram. So look up. I'm gonna spell it out loud. BJAMIS3. That's on Instagram. Other than that, can't wait to see more of you guys' stuff. I'll be watching every Monday. Last week with Neil was great. And yeah, keep it going, guys. You guys are doing great.
All right, guys, we're out. We'll see you next week. We're keeping it classic. Bye.